Alrighty. Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review, episode number 82. This one discussing roughly about 5 episodes. Excuse me. We have episodes 889 to 893. 889 to 891 is simply put the last 3 episodes released for season 19 of the show. Yep. Which is also the 13th voyage. Yep, 89 is the finale to the Levely arc, where after Shihoshi gets basically healed up. There's no recap in this one. No recap of previous arc. Not that I can think of, no. Well, we do see the last appearance for a long-time imp, the ruler of the world, where you see on screen for like 2 scenes. You first see him in the garden, where apparently he's chopped up pictures of Blackbeard and Luffy, and his sword is going through the picture of Shihoshi for some reason. Now, she is not wanted by the world government. It's just that he doesn't, just has... By the way, in case you're curious though, does Imp himself ever speak in the series, you might ask? No, he has not. In his 3 appearances he's made in the series, in the manga, he has never spoken a word. Nothing. We do briefly see the 5 older idiots bowing to him, as he is the ruler of the world, the de facto ruler of the world. And of course, the arc does end with seeing that the revelry has finally started. And in case you're curious though, what was basically coming out of this thing? Well, only one thing officially was decided. As for what else was decided, completely unknown. The one thing major was decided here that basically did make a fix in the series. Excuse me, they did have an aspect a little bit Wano, but on the Wano arc on the outside. But basically a good chunk on the outside. Basically the ending of the 7 Warlord system. Yes, that was mentioned in the Wano arc later on, and they were on the outside stuff. Yeah, the 7 Warlord system was basically disbanded. And aside from that, there's nothing much else ever stated. Because here's the thing, in the manga, I think this was released back in 2018, I think it was. Actually, it was 2017. Now the manga, the arc itself, mostly put to just having characters reunite. The way the anime presented it, they had it as sort of, at the time, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the anime. Because the anime first aired in 1999, while in terms of the manga, that was released in 1997. Yep, and we do see a debut of a few characters in these episodes. We do see a debut of, let's see. We see Saki, who looks like a vampire. He was the king of the Lusa Kingdom. Of course, what happened to him afterwards, I'm not going to reveal. We see Pafru, who, by the way, he does not have an English subject actor credit. Yes. Yes. So we have the referee go off, and that's it. We also see Samosa. He's one of the kings there. There's no credit for his English dub actor. Yep. And then, of course, 889, the Levely arc is officially wrapped up. Yeah, the arc itself didn't go on very long. I thought it was 12 episodes. It turns out it actually wasn't. Well, let's see. Let's see. Okay. The Levely arc itself went on for approximately... Yeah, it was 12 episodes. Yep, 12 episodes. And the manga counterpart was only 6 chapters. Now, as for the reason why that the arc itself was only 6 chapters, I have heard a rumor the reason why it was. Why I remember, basically, that apparently his editor really wanted to get the Wano really quickly. Now, I'm sure Oda really wanted to spend more time with Liv, but he had to get the Wano. Yep. That was the overall really big problem there. I'm sure the Toei probably didn't know about what was going on at Shueisha at the time. They probably didn't know about this. Either they did or probably just didn't care. But that's the rumor I've heard. His editor at this point really wanted him to get the Wano as quickly as possible. Because he thought this with the political stuff probably was not that interesting. I found this arc quite interesting. I thought it was a really good arc. Now, in the case of 890 and 891, 890 is the last time you officially seen the series, well, of a recap of previous arc. We do see a little bit of a recap of Marine 4 here. Basically, this episode has a return of Marco. Yes, making his first appearance post-time skip. Yeah, first proper appearance. And he's on an island, which makes his debut in this episode, which we also see the debut of a couple characters like there's one name, like there is Odie, a little girl. One's named Tama. She's voiced by Molly Zung. Tama is a sphinx. Basically, it's a sphinx. That's the name of the species. The island is called Sphinx, which apparently is this island which made its debut this episode. Is apparently the birthplace of Whitebeard. And apparently, get this, this was the very island that Ace and Whitebeard were taken to after they died. Yes, seriously. Mm-hmm. Yep, and, well, Cat Faber is there just to talk to Marco, and that's pretty much the episode. 891 is simply put Luffy's group entering Wano. That's simply put what it is. We see him arriving at the entrance of Wano. They go through a storm, and of course they come up with an octopus. Yes, a freaking octopus. Now you're probably thinking, who the heck is this freaking octopus? You might ask. Well, so they have them basically go up this waterfall thanks to these fish, which, by the way, this is the same waterfall this waterfall is seen a little bit later in the arc, when the big mom pirates show up. Yes. So, of course, they get to a whirlpool, and then, of course, Luffy falls in. Though, the very next episode, which is the start, officially, of the Wano arc, which, here's the interesting thing about these two episodes. 890, 891. The two chapters they adapt here for these two episodes. Here is kind of the strange thing. While in the case of 891, that's kind of the start of that particular arc. Now, it does kind of, in a way, start the arc off with basically how they adapt this arc is quite interesting because 890 is technically the start of this arc. They adapt the pages 2 to 7 of chapter 909. But the rest of the chapter is not adapted to 2 episodes later. Yes, that is simply how it is. And what is that for 891, you might ask? Well, they adapt the pages 2 to 14 of 910. Yes. And it will take 3 episodes to finish adapting this chapter. No joke. That seriously is 100% completely true. So they fall into waterfall, and then we have this great sequence here, where we see the debut. We see our first debut in this episode. In this very first thing, Hidori, who was known at the time at this point was as Komoroski. Hidori is Momo's little sister, grown up. Yep, they've been a little bit later in the series, but I had to reveal it here because that's who this beautiful woman is. I mean, some music, and we see this curtain that opens, which, whenever they have these curtains open here, that's kind of like the start of an act. Because this particular arc is told in 4 acts. Yes, and this arc is still going this very day. And it's only started about almost 4 years ago, and we're still not done yet. Nope, not even close. So, aside from seeing a door, we see the debut also of the Flower Capital. The Flower Capital will become an integral place in Wano. It shows up pretty much almost every single episode of this whole entire arc so far. It is the most freaking place as seen. The Flower Capital in Wano is the capital of the country. Yep. And Luffy, of course, basically washed up on the beach the very next episode. And he's there, and his ship basically they're capsized. They do explain what happened here. Apparently, Sanji took Nami, Chopper, Kara, and Brook off someplace towards balance of Luffy. Luffy's being laid, but the octopus stopped them. And of course, get caught in the whirlpool and went up to the shore. And then we see the view of a couple animals here. Yes, 2 animals in this very episode. We see Hanabaru, who basically was fighting Kamachio, who was actually the best friend of somebody we'll get to. Now, then we get to some samurai movie stuff. Because I mentioned Lucy Christian. She was actually quite happy I told her this. The guy who directs this particular arc in the anime, the director of the arc itself is the guy who directed the movie Z. One of the most popular of the movies has been released from One Piece. People love Z. And fun fact, you know this guy also directed Dragon Ball Super Broly? Yep, same guy. And he became the director of this very arc. And I haven't heard him leaving the arc anytime soon, but he's been pretty much the story. He's pretty much the guy who's been in charge of this arc. And after Lucy this, she seemed pretty happy about this revelation. I don't know if she knew about this ahead of time, but I'm sure she was probably very happy about it. Yep. And then we see what the rest of Straw Hats is up to while Luffy and his group have been fighting Big Mom. Frankie has become a carpenter for a legend hunter Gaimo. Robin's got a Ganesha. Usopp has become a Toad salesman. Toad oil salesman, yes. Zoro has become a Ronin. By the way, Izuba Kinemaro, they had to be undercover until the rest of the allies arrive. Yep, how long? Don't know. And plus, this basically, a lot of the sequences here are pulled directly from classic samurai movie here. I've seen images of stuff like this where it's like watching a samurai movie. I've watched like one, but I've seen images of stuff like this, so basically I kind of understand this. So you see Zoro, he goes out drinking sake, he loves sake, he takes a bottle with him. He's just walking down the street, minding his own business, and then all of a sudden he sees a guy kill some random person, completely random. Who is this guy, you might ask? They've heard, oh, this guy must be the Slasher. Yes, that's what they call him. It's some serial killer. It's like, and of course, Zoro smells him. You smell like blood. This actually comes back to haunt the guy who actually is a serial killer. And then immediately on the spot, Zoro was arrested for being the Slasher, despite the fact his sword's been clean the whole time. I don't know if he's actually hurt anybody while he's been wandering on Wano. Yeah, apparently because he's a Ronin, he's able to wander on Wano, no problem. So he's arrested and brought before a minister and ordered the performance of Sengoku. What is this particular thing, you might ask? Shippuku, that's what it's called. It is ritual suicide. Basically, the whole purpose of this is to have an honorable death for a samurai. Just slice up in the belly and have an assistant chop off his head. That is the whole purpose of this thing. So it looks like he's about to, but no one believes in the fact he's not actually it. And then he smells the blood again. It's like, and it's revealed that the minister is a Slasher. And he basically takes this little blade he's given to himself. He takes the sword from somebody else and basically begins a massive global destruction. Takes the swords back. And of course, then he walks off and changes attire because if he was wearing a different attire prior to this, and he wears a completely different outfit. Also, he started a wanted poster. Robin, when you see her, she's basically practicing because apparently she's been summoned by the Shogun, who's an evil man. Yes. Yeah. By the way, I'll get to basic Summer Smith debut. Thomas Tozer, he's the ministry. He's voiced by Jordan Dash Cruz. And you know the strange thing about this guy? He appears for one episode. Not kidding about that. He actually, believe it or not, he is his only appearance. He never returns ever again in the series. Oh. Now we also see Taguro Umi, who's one Robin works for. She does not have a credit for an English dub actor. Yamapasu, who works for Usopp. Manitamo, who was not the same character who appeared in a filler for East Blue. Yeah. Despite these characters look exactly alike. You guys are related. Yeah, he is voiced. Don't have a credit for an English dub actor for him. Yeah, so we see Luffy where he basically fights a couple people for the next episode in 1983. So Robin basically notices Zoro's Wano poster and doesn't want to associate with it. So in the case of she just walks along, Usopp says is accused of possibly knowing the slasher. He just runs away. Yep. Now, Frankie overhears what happened to Zoro, but he doesn't overreact. He just talks in his head. Yep. Now, in the case of Luffy, he ends up seeing the Kamio and the Baboon fighting each other. It ends up look like you have Kagu, where he's basically went to a ship. And then, of course, we see these two guys who apparently work for Basil Hawkins. Yes, I know it's Basil Hawkins. That's why I think they're trying. Oh, it's a silhouette. It's Basil freaking Hawkins. I know it's him. Number one, because I watched the anime. And number two, who the heck has long freaking hair like that? It's Basil Hawkins. The guy who basically has straw powers. It is so obvious as him. And plus, they brought back his English dub actor for this arc. Yes. Oh, in case you're curious though, who voices Basil Hawkins, you might ask? Excuse me. Basil Hawkins is voiced by Tristan Jeffy. Telston Jeffy. Yep. That's who voices him. He's been voicing him since his debut. I believe was back in Sabaody, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. If you're curious though about him, have I seen a series of this one he's been in? He's been in Toshiba Reservoir Chronicle and Shoot Agi. Let's see. His character. Minor character. He, of course, was in Dragon Ball Z Battle Gods and Sushi Chef. He was in Book of Murder for Black Butler, Fairy Tale, and that's it. Oh yeah, he's also in Hellsing Ultimate as Wild Goose. Yep. Now, as far as I can tell, Basil Hawkins still voiced by the same guy. They have not changed his English dub actor. Like the same face, despite the fact he's cast silhouette. It's obviously him. Now, 993, which last episode talked about here, we see the debut of the wonderful Tama, this adorable 8-year-old girl who I will not reveal who she's from prior to this, and she's voiced by somebody who I actually have met, the wonderful Sarah Weidenhoff. Yep. And we see debut of her Devil power, the Dogger Fruit. Basically, pulls a piece of her cheek, basically look like a dumpling, toss to somebody who's got an anal power, and she becomes a master. Yep. Great girl. And I knew I recognized that voice somewhere. Yeah, it's Sarah. I think she revealed she was actually voicing Tom, and I heard like, wow, what a great choice. After all, she has voiced a little girl before. Saki from Suka from Doctor Stone. I think I think Sarah brought in her basically the voice, the style she used for this one. She brought in the same one she did for that character, which great, and I think great choice. Love the choice they made. Now Sarah has done some Funimation work before, and I'm happy she's in One Piece. Welcome aboard, Sarah, to One Piece, which I'm so happy with that. Yep. Now you might be curious though. Aside from the series, obviously, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is one of the series I've seen her in. She also in Dragon Academy. Oh, this actually was the second character she voiced. Say welcome back. Let's see. Good. Yeah. I can find it here. Oh yeah. She was one of. She actually did make her debut prior to this. I kind of forgot. It's been a while since I've seen it. Basically, this was actually her second character she's voiced in the series. Yeah, the giant woman from the Kaiju Pirates. Yep. Yeah, and she's also been. Well, like I said, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and then where I smile from, which actually is getting season 2 this year. How Not the Same Demon Lord, which the second season came out a couple years ago for that one, which I watched it. Yeah, Suga from Doctor Stone, obviously. She's also in Fire Force. Also, who I believe that she's the granddaughter of one of the captains, Cautious Hero. Which, no, she never plays this character for Isekai Quartet. She wasn't in that one. She was awesome. Plunder is Hina, the female lead of the series. Great character. As a matter of fact, I actually saw that series just prior to meeting her. Super X Heroes. And, well, of course, the last series I saw before this one was Chainsaw Man. Yep. And I'm so happy. Oh, by the way, she was in Super as the voice of, get this, Zeno. Yes. Yep. An absolute great character. That one. He's so funny. Yep. But I thoroughly enjoy watching these episodes. And now I'm into Wano. Yep, that's the only thing we're talking about here. Also, as of right now, I have exactly 23 episodes left to go to watch dub. And that's it. Yep. Now, I'm going to here because I have stuff to do. So, until next video. Bye.